We are in full bloom of fall colors in Toronto. In this video, I'm going to show you two things that I learned while I was flying my drone to capture some fall colors, and there was also one almost catastrophic fail of my drone. So I'm just gonna. It could be a fairly long video, and I have a timeline in the description so you can jump to the different sections of the video. But here I'm going to show you something first. It's the Don River in Toronto, and it's a river that runs in parallel to the Don Valley Parkway. It's a major artery of the city of Toronto. So pretty much at during the day, it's pretty loud. So there's no peace and quiet around here, but a lot of people do like to take the trail on for hiking, for bicycling, and just for leisure walks. So here on this day, I took my drone out. I thought it would be cool to follow part of the Don River, and this is more on the upper end of the Don River. It looks pretty peaceful and quiet because the drone doesn't capture any sound, any audio. But yeah, no, you can. It's next to the highway, so you can clearly hear traffic just not too far from where I was standing. So here I was flying just along the river, and I decided at this point, okay, I had enough. I just gonna return. And I almost crashed my drone because I think that, as you may see here, it's not that easy to spot some obstacles. This drone doesn't have any obstacle avoidance built in, and so there's nothing that tells you that there's something in front of you. So here I was like flying, and I did not realize until I was very close to this one branch that, okay, better stop right here. There you go. So I wasn't too far from it. There's a small branch kind of hanging down from the bigger branch. I didn't really see that. So last minute or last second, I managed to avoid it and veered away from it. So it was a very beautiful day. It was gonna rain a little bit, but overall, just overcast, beautiful day. It was about 6 degrees Celsius, and it was about 9 degrees Celsius. Overall, very beautiful day. Okay, so here we are flying downstream. Very beautiful. And we're gonna try to capture some fall colors in a minute. The other thing that I want to mention is there are two things that I learned. One is about flying under a bridge. You got to be careful about that. And the other one is the dynamic range of the camera. Yeah, I'll speak to that in the following segments of the video. So there is that long road that goes toward the city. You can see it down in the far end. That's Toronto. That's the downtown core of Toronto, and the road that leads to it is the Don Valley Parkway. All right, so here is an example of where you have to be careful when you're flying under a bridge. Whenever I fly, I try to use GPS mode. But this is a bridge that's pretty thick. It's a lot of metal and so on. And as soon as I flew under the bridge, the drone lost GPS connections, and all of a sudden you see how there's a jerk flying forward and then flying backward, all that. It took me by surprise how the drone put itself into the ATTI mode, ATTI, I believe that's how it's spelled, into the ATTI mode where it doesn't fly by GPS, and so It jerks. It's a little bit jerky, and so that's something you have to be careful about. So I wasn't too familiar yet with flying in ATTI mode, and so I decided that since drone was my drone was a bit unstable, right? It felt a little bit unstable. I decided to just pull it back and land it. So that was a my I guess my first probably my first time trying to fly the drone in ATTI mode. Yeah, I forgot to bring my helipad along with me, so I used my backpack or the back of my backpack as a landing pad, and so I managed to land it on the back of my backpack, but it was sort of like on the edge and it fell over. That was all right. Just had to blow some dust or sand off the back um, of the drone. So you got to make sure whenever you're flying, and when you saw there's a lot of debris there, there's a lot of leaves, a lot of like soil and so on. You don't want to fly or take off in an area like that because it will kick off a lot of the sand into the air and that could get into the drone. You don't want that to happen. So make sure that you bring a tarp, a small little tarp, or a landing pad. So next, we'll look at the dynamic range of the camera of the Atom. The dynamic range is essentially how much detail you can see in the brightest part of the picture and how much detail you can see in the darker parts of the image. You gotta notice that as I'm panning from left to right, that things become more balanced. Right? You can see more details in the sky and more details on the ground. And so that's the dynamic range of the camera. So essentially what you don't want to do is to point at the sun because everything else, like in the foreground or in the landscape, becomes very dark. You want to point away from the sun, because then everything else in the landscape will be lit up, the sky will be lit, and hopefully the intensity of the sky and the landscape, the ground, will be somewhat similar. And if the intensity of the colors are about the same, then you're going to be able to capture most, if not all, of the colors, all the details in the brightest and the darker part of the image. So here, as you can see, as I'm panning down, now I'm looking vertically 90 degrees straight down. It's actually very beautiful. We're able to capture a lot of the colors here, and um, so here I'm gonna just follow the Don River. Part of this video was also trying to learn how to fly and not in straight line, but also like in a curve. So as you're moving forward, how do you rotate the camera at the same time? Okay, what you just saw there is that I was running out of battery, so the drone started on its way back home automatically. So it has this return to home feature when it senses that it's running out of battery. So it's going back to where it took off from and setting up itself in the direction of when it took off. What you'll notice here is that if I did not pay attention, it may actually land in the water. So unless you're taking off from a very wide open field, be careful. Just watch out for where it's landing. You may have to adjust, so you can use as it's landing. We can definitely take over control of the landing if you want, but if you're allowing it to land on its own, make sure that it's landing not in the water, and you can adjust, with the joystick going back and forth, left and right, making sure that it lands where it should be. All right, I hope this video has been helpful to someone out there. And thank you for watching. Bye for now.